All right.
Yes, Pam.
So, investments, again, just follow up and just end on this note. Start early, invest as much as you can afford. That way you don't work until you're 65, 70 years old, okay? I guarantee you some of your parents are gonna work till they're 70 years old. Start early, invest, and hopefully you won't, all right? I'll just leave it at that. All right, the bigger thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because it's a bigger crisis that's affecting the millennial age of yourselves, is student loans, all right? And what a student loan is, it's a type of what's called an installment loan, all right? And an installment loan. And basically, is an installment loan is you make what's called equal payments over time. I'm going to put in parentheses monthly because typically you pay things off in a monthly manner, okay? For the purpose of paying off a lump sum that was borrowed. So that is what is considered an installment loan, is where you're going to make equal payments, a series of equal payments over time. Typically it's done on a monthly payback for the purpose of paying off a lump sum of an amount of money borrowed. Now, installment loans, you're all going to deal with them. I guarantee you nobody in here is going to go through life without dealing with some type of installment loan. A car loan is an example of an installment loan. The bank's going to give you an amount of money that you're going to borrow to buy a car. Okay? Now that amount for the car loan is going to vary. You know, you might have people like Samantha that wants to be riding around in a, Mercedes-Benz or, BMW. And then you got people like Jameson want to be riding around in a, 1985 pickup truck. Okay? So installment loans, car loan is going to vary the amount that you borrow. Okay? And also it's going to vary over the amount that you pay off the loan. Typically car loans are paid off in 4, 5, or 6 years. Okay? Typically car loans are paid off in a series of 4, 5, or 6 years. And we're going to talk about an example of car loans in this lesson. All right, another type, and then probably the biggest one, installment loan that you will run through in your lifetime is a mortgage. All right, a mortgage. And a mortgage is an amount of money that you borrow, a lump sum, in order to buy what?
House.
A house. All right, mortgage will probably be your biggest bill that you'll ever have in the history of your life span. Okay, mortgage. Mortgages are typically paid off in 15, 20, or 30 years. Okay? Mortgages are typically paid off in 15, 20, or 30-year increments. Okay? So car loan, mortgage, and the last one I'm going to discuss is student loans. As you saw in the video, okay, and that video was somewhat dated when President Obama was still in office. At that time, the student loan debt was $700 billion. I think it's now $1.3 trillion owned in student loans. Student loans now is the biggest debt facing America. There's more student loan debt than there is credit card debt. All right? So for you all, you're gonna face student loan debt, and hopefully you, from this lesson, you learn to control it, because we're gonna talk about how bad it's going to affect you. Okay, now, installment loans. Installment loans, again, is when you're making a series of equal payments. Okay, a series of equal payments. And the equal payments go to two things. The equal payments go to paying off two things. They go to paying off the principal, which is the amount that you borrowed, and it goes off of paying off the interest. Okay? So you need to remember that in an installment loan, your equal payments pay off two things: a principal and an interest. And Jason, it's not going to just jump mysteriously on your paper, it's got to be written on your paper. Okay?
Gotcha.
Okay. Because you're going to see this again. All right? So principal and interest. Now, what I want to show you is this morning, or not this morning, but yesterday afternoon, I worked up a spreadsheet. All right? And I worked up a spreadsheet that talks about the three different types. Okay? Now, the first type, and you don't have to just pay attention to this. Well, I'm going to show you how you're going to calculate this. So here's an example of a car loan. Okay? A car loan for $25,000 borrowed at 4% for 6 years. So 6 times 12, you're going to make 72 car payments. Makes sense. Okay? So notice what we have here. You have monthly payments. And the bank will actually do this for you. You won't have to do this, but I did this for a reason, to show you that on a loan, a car loan, notice you have equal payments. Part of it is going to pay off the principal borrowed, and part of it goes to the interest for that loan. Notice the interest on the loan decreases over the lifespan, and less money is going towards the interest. And more money is going towards the what? The principal. That's the way installment loans work. Over the lifespan of the loan, you start out, your interest is going to decrease. The amount of your equal payment that goes towards your interest is going to decrease. The amount that you pay for your principal, the actual amount that you borrowed, increases. Okay? But it's still, everybody look, $460. The bank would have earned $3,161.33 in interest. That's how the bank makes money. You borrow money, you pay back interest. The interest goes into their account. Okay? All right. Next, I want to talk about a mortgage. $350,000 mortgage borrowed, and this yesterday was the average rate for a mortgage for 20 years was 4.625%. That was the national average for a mortgage loan for 20 years. 20 times 12, you'd make 240 payments over the lifespan of your loan. Now, there's your equal payments. Now this is for what? $350,000 house. Now I'm going to tell you, up in this world, $350,000 house is not extravagant by any means. Okay? $350,000 house up here is not extravagant. Basically, I picked 350 because 350 is about what an average house costs up here in this high dollar world that we live in. Okay? And I also didn't pick a, $25,000 car is not overly extravagant either. Does everybody understand that? I mean, something like Ford Fusion or something, okay? Not a Mercedes-Benz, right? All right. Now, everybody look at this. Look at your mortgage, or your monthly mortgage payment. Look at the beginning. That's how much goes to your principal. That's how much money is going to interest. And that's what happens with mortgages. When they start out, you're paying more for the interest than you are for the money borrowed. Again, that's how banks what? They make money. And notice again that the amount of your principal, the amount that goes from your payment towards your principal increases over the life of the loan, and the amount for the interest decreases. The reason is you're paying off interest each month, that's why it's decreasing, and your principal, more can go towards your principal. All right? All right. There's a 20-year mortgage. That's how much interest they're making. $187,338.08. Okay? That's what you're paying them to borrow what? $350,000. So basically you borrow $350,000 and you're paying back more than half of what you borrowed in interest. All right? Again, that's why banks make money. All right, James, you'll be president of a bank instead of Wall Street. All right. College loan. College loans are typically paid off in 10 years. You're going to get a 10-year loan for your college loan. Now, I put $60,000 here. You control this. The woman on the video, hers was $70,000 that she had, and the $70,000 put her what? Basically in bankruptcy, correct? It basically ruined her. Because she had lost her job, and she ended up not only losing her job, she lost her what? She lost her house, okay? And she had the little girl. It's not a good world here. All right, there's your monthly payment for a $60,000 college loan, okay? Now, somebody, actually not somebody, everybody get your calculators out. All right, I want everybody to take $620.39, $620.39, plus $2,238.91. Again, $620.39 plus $2,238.91 plus $460.41. Add those three up.
3,319.
What do you get?
$3,319.71.
3,000, Rudolph, 3,371.
19.71.
That's what you're paying monthly for a mortgage, a college loan, and a vehicle. Multiply that by 12.
Oh,
That's almost $40,000 you're paying out per year for a mortgage, a car, and a student loan.
and you got utilities.
Well, that's right. Well, let's contemplate this here. That's cash coming out of your account. Just for three things: mortgage, car loan, student loan. You better be making more than $40,000 a year. You know, I'd say, average starting salary, I looked it up. College graduate in the north, $58,000. In the northeast, $58,000. That's $58,000 what? Before taxes, okay? Before taxes. So this amount, $40,000, doesn't include food, gas, electricity, cable, phone bill, clothes, it's right.
Kids.
So I did this for a reason. Hey, car loan, $25,000, not extravagant, but you need a what? You gotta have something to get around with, correct? Mortgage, up in these parts of the country, $350,000 is not an extravagant house. But you gotta have a roof over your head, right? As we showed in the video, this is the thing that you can control. Okay? the student loan, the amount that you borrow. So, as was shown in that video, you cannot borrow a ton of money, because one, you gotta pay it back, and, you know, that's a pretty chunk of change right there, $620.39. Okay? So, that's why, you know, I always save this lesson for last to actually press upon you the importance of try as hard as you can to borrow the least amount of money to pay for college. Because I hate to break it to you, you borrow, you gotta pay it back. All right, you borrow it, you gotta pay it back. All right, now, how can you calculate how much you have to pay back? Well, we're gonna talk about now the formula that is used for installment loans in order to figure out the total amount of money that you have to pay back. I will give this formula to you on the quiz, test, or the exam. I don't expect you to memorize this, but you need to know what each parts of these represent. All right. Now, here's the formula. Capital P is the principal. When you're talking about loans, principal is the what? Amount borrowed. I.e., the $25,000 car loan, the $350,000 for the house, the $60,000 for the student loans. M is your monthly payment. M is your monthly payment. Now, what do you see a lot of in this formula? Q. Okay? Q is equal to 1 over 1 plus P. That's lowercase p. Remember, P was your what? Periodic? No, it's not called periodic compound. It's called periodic what?
Interest rate.
Interest rate, your periodic interest rate. Remember, P is what? Your APR divided by 12. We're going to do divided by 12 because you were going to pay everything back monthly. Okay, you're going to pay everything back monthly. Now, this is going to be a known quantity. That's the amount you're borrowing. You know, $35,000 for a car, $500,000 for a house, $40,000 for a student loan. This is going to be a known quantity. But in the world that you live in, and not just in the world that you live in, the world that most everybody lives in, you live in a month-to-month basis. Your parents or guardians, they budget their month to month to month. How much I have coming in and how much I have going out per month. That's the way we live in this world, unless you're a multimillionaire, okay? But the majority of Americans, we live on a monthly budget. All right, so this, that's the thing that we're going to focus on. How much do I have to pay a month? Okay, what is my monthly bill going to be? Now, what you need to realize is this. What you want to do is you want to learn to store Q in your calculator. You want to learn to store Q in your calculator, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay? Now, let's look at, let's say, an APR of 5%. All right? Compounded monthly. The first thing you want to do, the first thing you want to do is you want to calculate Q, which is 1 over 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12. Because remember, our periodic interest rate is the APR divided by 12. So that's the first thing you want to do. So on your calculators, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to take 1 divided by parentheses 1 plus 0.05 divided by 12. Does everybody understand why I had to put the denominator in parentheses? Okay? If not, you'd just done 1 divided by 1 and then plus, your calculator would have done plus the 0.05 divided by 12. All right. There's our value for Q. So that's the first step on all of these problems. You want to calculate the value for Q. But do you think I want to, first off, do you think the bank's going to round this number to like 0.99?
No.
No, if not, they're not going to round it because they're losing money. You're going to owe the rest of that decimal. Does everybody understand that? So, then what I want you to do, after you calculate it, all right, oops, excuse me, after you calculate it, then you are going to store it. And I typically store it in what's called alpha A. I'm going to store it in my calculator under the letter A. Here's how you do this. It's a real simple process. You hit store, STO, which is located right there, and then hit your alpha button, and then the button right under it, which stands for A. And then you hit enter. And you should have the same value come up again. So you hit store alpha A. Now everybody look up here. Hit clear. Hit alpha A again and hit enter, and you better have the value for Q stored in there. You're going to want to do that for each problem. And everybody look up here. The only thing that's going to change is this APR. Does everybody agree? Okay, whether it's 5%, 8%, 10%, whatever. Okay? So store alpha A. Then you're ready to apply that to figure out your monthly payment. Now everybody, do not write this down, just look up here. I'm going to erase Q, and I'm now going to put A. Because now I've stored the value for Q in my calculator for A. Does everybody understand that? Okay? Now if I want to figure out what my monthly payment is, does everybody realize all I got to do is take my principal amount and divide it by whatever that value is. And that's going to give me my monthly payment. All right? So, let's first do a car loan. We're going to step up a little bit in car